Hello friends, and welcome to tonight's beer review. Hopefully the sound won't be too off because my cheap ass Radio Shack speakers died today. Just as a warning, never buy from Radio Shack. Their products are shitty. It's an easily repaired thing, but of course, you know the way they make electronics nowadays. I popped it off to go and see that it's just like a poorly soldered connection. And of course, in the process of popping it off, I had to go and wreck the entire damn thing because they don't make those things fixable or openable, so you have to kind of brute force it. But that's neither here nor there. Today, we're going to be reviewing the beer style that brought me to craft beer, and that is the pumpkin ale. I can still remember it a long time ago. This had to be about 2001, 2002, thereabouts, when I was going to a Halloween party, and I went to pick up some beer, and I went to the grocery store, and there was this 6-pack of pumpkin beer, and I was thinking, wow, isn't that pretty interesting and cool? And I went and bought that beer, and it was the best damn beer I ever drank. I still think it's the best damn beer I ever drank, if you go back to memories, and I have never been able to find it again. It was just the best pumpkin beer I ever had. It was just this smooth, creamy, pumpkinness with a light hint of spice. And, it just blew my mind. And it blew another guy's mind at the party, too. And ever since then, I've been pretty, to a greater or lesser extent, pretty obsessed with craft beer. So, the ironic thing is, I've never been able to find that particular beer again. And it's actually very hard to find pumpkin ales in Hawaii. That is because it's an autumn brew, and we don't really get much autumn brews here because we mostly import from the West Coast. This is something you find more in northern climes. So today is one of the 2 widespread pumpkin ales that you're able to get in Hawaii, and that is Sam Adams Harvest Pumpkin Ale. I've never had this yet. So let's read the label, shall we? Early New England colonists were nothing if not resourceful. Lacking traditional malts, they added pumpkin to their brews, and the first pumpkin ales were born. This modern adaptation uses different malts. It uses 4 different malts and over 17 pounds of real pumpkin per barrel, for a rich depth of flavor and unmistakable character. Cheers! So it's a little bit too cold, but hopefully I can warm it up a bit. Oh, you can smell that richness straight from the bottle right now. I'm going to use a stout glass. Generally not what you use here, but for some reason it seems like I want to do it like this today. Plus my stout glass tends to warm things up faster, I find. So, a deep amber red with a frothy, quickly dissipating head. You can hear it dissipating. And the smell that is very reminiscent of pumpkin pie. Definitely more on the spice side. You can really pick out the nutmeg and cinnamon here. But underneath that, you smell that sort of pumpkin goodness. And a bit of grains, too. Mouthfeel is a bit light. Yeah, I definitely would prefer my pumpkin ales to have a much more heavier mouthfeel. It just generally goes with the style and the taste. So I forgot to mention, this is a 5.7 ABV. Very lightly hopped with European hops. Obviously, this is supposed to be a malt showcase. definitely get the pumpkin at the front end. It's just a brief hit of creaminess. It's kind of hard to pick out because of the lightness of the mouthfeel. But it's there. There's just sort of, the spices really hit at the front of the tongue, and then the back by the sinuses. There's a light breadiness to the malts, but not much so. It's basically spice is a primary flavor characteristic. Very clean finish, just a light hint of floralness and pepperiness, but almost right off the palate right there. Nothing really lingers. Not much of an aftertaste. I'm going to try to let this warm up some. And I'll leave, if it changes much, I'll tell you in the notes of the video. But I have a feeling it's not going to. There's nothing bad with the flavor profile, it is just not intense enough. You know, it fits for the style, but is just too light on the tongue, too light on the taste buds. Which is too bad, because it is very well balanced, you know? And it goes more towards the side of pumpkin ales that I like, which is sort of the pumpkin pie character as opposed to sort of the squash character. Not that there's anything bad with the squash character. The first pumpkin ale that I ever had was heavily squash character because of the thick creaminess of it and almost no spice. But, you know, hops are kind of picking up as it warms up a little bit. Definitely old world, though. Fuggle, if I'm right. But you just want a bit more chewiness with a pumpkin ale. Pumpkin ale without chewiness is not a pumpkin ale. Well, it's still pumpkin ale, but it's just not satisfying for being a pumpkin ale. That said, everyone should try a pumpkin ale style, especially if you want a pumpkin pie style. If you know someone who doesn't like beer, they'll like a good pumpkin pie-ish pumpkin ale. Because it is just, you know, so off the beaten track from what you think of beer, with the spiciness, that pumpkin flavor, and often the sweetness that comes along with it as well. So, Harvest Pumpkin Ale. Well, it's better than Blue Moon Pumpkin Ale, but it still doesn't hit that spot that first beer, you know, that popped my craft beer cherry. So, with that, I say to you, good night, and cheers!